Hi guys, welcome to the Cloud4 Academy. We are going to integrate EHCache with the Springboot 3.2 version. Let's get into the session, guys. Thank you. Hi guys, we are going to integrate Springboot with EHCache. EHCache, right? Cache is, as I explained in my previous videos, cache can be used in the multiple use cases, right? So when we are making the DB calls, if it is repeated call, we can keep it in the cache and first time, and then second time, first time it will fetch the database and then keep the data in the cache, and next time for further calls it will fetch the cache instead of database, right? Like that, if there is any external call which is very expensive, where it's feasible to store it in cache, then we can keep it in the cache instead of calling the service every time. We can keep it in the cache and we can retrieve it instead of calling the service. So like that, we can use the cache based on the use cases, right? So EHCache is in memory Java cache. So we can use that. It will be integrated with the Java. So EHCache is a simple. You can use a dependency and the EXXML definition file, and then we can configure it. It's not like other cache, like creating the server and the cluster setup. Not like nothing, not that kind of change is not required. So this just you can use the dependency, and then you can start using that, because EHCache is in memory cache, right, with the Spring Boot. So let's get into the session, guys. Thank you. I'm going to integrate Spring Boot with the EHCache. So I'm just opening the Eclipse. So the projects I created normally Spring Initializer and when there and adding the dependency, adding the module and then imported into Eclipse, right? So that thing I have done it. So EHCache, just we need to add a dependencies. So I can just show the code changes. Yeah, EHCache. So I'm just going to import the EHCache. Import EHCache. So I just created a basic projects in it. Springboot integration, EHCache demo, right? I created that. So created these projects. I'm going to pom.xml. So pom.xml is only, there are three dependencies we need to add it. So only the, just remove the test dependencies not required, and I'm going to add the dependencies. So three dependencies required. EHCache. So these are the dependency I noted. So this three dependency we need to add it. So one is this Spring started cache, and then java.x cache API, Spring Boot started cache, and EHCache. So these things we have to include in Spring Boot 3.2, and then I just saved it, and then I'm going to create a controller, just simple or service, EHCache service. You can create the EHCache service. EHCache service you can create. So once we create it, you can add service annotation service. So EHCache service, we have added this cache implementation. So I used annotated based cache. I not used cache manager. So I use a simple cacheable annotation. So evict is removed to the cache, invalidate the cache. So if you see that here there are four methods. First method cache, it will cache that, and second method, I think similar method. No, this method, the first one you can remove it. Yeah, this will cache, get cache data. So this will call the cache and return the value, right? So next time when you are calling this get data, it will always return from the cache, EHCache, employee cache. It will not cache, it will not call this method every time. So it will not, this method will not be called. That's why I printed the logs. So logs will tell first time when you are calling, it will fetch this method, call this method. Next time onwards, it will not call this method, because it will get it from the cache, right? This is a weak cache, it will clear the cache. I created a controller, and rest control annotation we need to do. Once we annotated that, then we can copy this method into controller, Springboot controller. So you can remove these things not required. Method, import it, and then clear cache. We have to inject this class. We have to inject Springboot. So this is a controller. We have used rest method get cache. This will call the cache method. This will clear the cache. There are two methods I have written it. So EHCache service, we have implemented this cache annotation cacheable and cache name and then key value, right? And this will call this method first time. After that, it will not call this method. Whenever we are calling this get data, it will always return from the cache value. Await cache is nothing but clear the cache. Just cache has been cleared. It will clear the cache. All entries equal to true and clear, right? A simple REST controller and cache implementation. We just for testing. Okay, you can test that. Now we have added the REST controller cache and then service, and then finally we are going to create EHCache.xml. EHCache.xml we have to create. Just remove the test class, it's not required. Resource, under resource I'm creating this file. Create file XML and then copy this content. This is a cache invalidation, cache expiry. So whenever we are keeping in the cache, expiry time and all will be there, right? That's what TTL. How long the cache has to be stored the data. So those configuration plus some additional configuration we can do based on our use cases. Since it's a demo, I just add only few properties, few attributes, but you can add multiple things in EHCache.xml definition file, right? So we can add that. And then I think configuration is over. I'm going to start the server application. I'm going to start the EHCache application. I'm going to start the EHCache application. So yeah, application is started. So I'm going to call this service. So port number is 8080, the default port. So http localhost 8080 / get cache result. Retrieve from cache. It will come retrieve from cache. If you see that log, retrieve from cache, it is coming, right? And then clear cache. So retrieve cache I called, right? So now one time it is calling. Even if you call multiple times, keep refresh multiple times, it will not call this method. So retrieve from cache. Once again. Another entry we have to copy. I think that's why it's not caching. Multiple times it's calling. So cache XML, we have to change the application or property. Like I put this class path order eh.cache, eh.xml. This file name we have to map it here. That's why it's not cached actually. So now I'm going to restart again. We are going to test that. Whereas the log it should display only once. That's why it should only once if it is caching properly. So I'm just enter get cache. Log is coming, retrieve from DB, and then next time I'm calling retrieve from DB. See again it's calling multiple times. Retrieve from DB. I think the cache is not detected. Which cache? Cache result. So we are not added cache config. Cache config also we have to add. And annotation enable configuration and enable caching. So this we need to add, otherwise the cache will not work. So I have added this configuration, and then I'm going to start this application. I'm just going to start the application. So if I call this method retrieve from cache in the log should call only once, right? If I click this call, see now I called retrieve from cache, right? If you do multiple times, like refresh, keep, refresh, or multiple times, it will retrieve from the cache. You can see the logs. See, only once it is called. If I evacuate the cache, let's say here clear cache, clear. So this method you need to copy. I see employee cache, clear cache, then remove cache. I'm going here, remove cache, calling this cache has been removed, but there is some error. If you call clear cache, it will clear the cache. See, now if I call the log only once, right? If I call again cache, it will call this method again. It will call create. Two times it is calling. If you refresh multiple times, then it will always retrieve from the cache. It will not call from the actual method, right? So like that, if I clear the cache again, so let's say I'm going to clear the cache, and now if I see the log two times, if I see again it will call. Now it's called two times. See, it's calling again. So whenever clear the cache, it will retrieve. Otherwise, it will not call from the cache actual method. So here, if you see, the implementation is very simple and very straightforward. So if I see EHCache service, I'm just call this method. This is a method actually. It will retrieve the cache. This method will not be called every time, because first time it will call, after that it will call from the cache, the value retrieved from the cache. Here is the database value or any value, just like it's written the hard coded value, but this value go from the instead of calling this method, it will just directly go to the cache. Whenever we invalidate, clear the cache, then only this method will get called. This is what cache is. This is how we have to integrate EHCache 3 with the Springboot 3.2. So very simple, very high level, very these three methods I have written. This is for just get cache, put cache, and then remove cache. These all three methods will be there. And then create the eh.xml in the under resource directory. It's a definition file, the definition file, and then the entry we have to keep it in the application or properties. This entry. And then configuration, config dot class, we have to enable the config and configuration annotation. That's it. Once you've done this, then we are good to go with the EHCache 3. Okay. Thank you for watching and listening. We are looking forward to join our group for a while.